The stars were quiet and distant as the Stellar Surveyor 9 sailed through deep space. Inside the control room, Lieutenant Adam Reyes checked the systems one last time. The ship was on a routine mission to explore a newly discovered star system at the edge of the galaxy. Everything should have been peaceful, but space is never truly peaceful. Suddenly, alarms blared. Red lights flashed. The ship shook violently. Adam's heart raced. "What's happening?" he shouted over the noise. The control panel flickered. Data streams disappeared. The ship's systems were failing fast. "We hit something," yelled Commander Virelli Thessa. She stood steady beside him, calm but alert. Virelli was an Alari, a tall, graceful alien with shimmering blue armor that covered her entire body. No human had ever seen her face. The Alari never removed their suits outside their homeworld. It was part of their culture and safety. The ship's artificial gravity failed. Adam grabbed the nearest handrail as the Stellar Surveyor 9 spun out of control. A massive jolt threw him against the wall. The voice of the ship's computer announced, "Critical damage detected. Emergency landing protocols activated." The crew had no choice. The ship plummeted toward a nearby moon, dark and rocky. Adam held on tight, bracing for impact. Outside the windows, dust and rocks blurred past in a terrible rush. With a deafening crash, the ship struck the surface. Metal groaned and twisted. Lights flickered out. Then silence. Adam groaned, blinking against the dust in the cabin. His body ached, but he was alive. "Commander?" he called out, coughing. "Are you okay?" A few feet away, Virelli's suit shimmered faintly. She was moving, crawling from under a broken console. She looked at him, calm and unhurt. "Yes," she said softly. "We survived." Adam nodded, relief washing over him. But the situation was bad. The ship was damaged beyond repair, and they were on an unknown moon. Help might be days or weeks away. "We have to send a distress signal," Adam said, trying to stand. His legs trembled, but he forced himself upright. "If the beacon works, someone will find us." Virelli rose with grace, scanning their surroundings. "The beacon is in the engineering bay, but the path is blocked by debris. I can clear it, but it may take time." Adam checked his wrist device. Power was low. Their supplies were limited. "Then we should start immediately." Together, they moved carefully through the wrecked ship. Metal twisted and sparks flew from damaged panels. The air smelled faintly of burning circuits. Adam noticed Virelli's suit, its smooth surface glowing softly in the dim light. He had worked with Alari officers before, but never this close. He wondered what she looked like beneath the helmet, but never dared ask. The silence between them was comfortable but heavy with unspoken questions. They reached the engineering bay. A large metal door was bent and jammed. Adam pushed with all his strength, but it wouldn't budge. "We need to find another way," Virelli said, kneeling to inspect the damage. Her fingers glowed faintly as she touched the metal. "The ship's internal power grid is unstable. It may be dangerous." Adam nodded. "I'll check the maintenance tunnels. Maybe there's an alternate entrance." Virelli agreed. "Be careful. The tunnels are narrow and the atmosphere is thin." Adam activated his helmet's lights and moved into the cramped corridor. It was dark and cold, with twisted cables hanging from the walls. Every step echoed through the empty space. Suddenly, the ship trembled again. "Warning," the computer announced. "Structural integrity compromised. Evacuation recommended." Adam's heart pounded. He hurried forward, determined to find a way. Then, he saw a faint light ahead. A hatch was partly open, leading outside the ship. He pushed through and emerged into the moon's surface. The sight took his breath away. The sky above was a deep purple filled with unfamiliar stars. Jagged rocks surrounded him, glowing softly under the light of a distant sun. The air was thin but breathable. Adam took a deep breath and looked back at the broken ship. "We need to get the beacon operational," he whispered. He hurried back, inside, and found Virelli waiting near the door. "Did you find a way?" she asked. "Yes," he said, "but it's going to be tough." Together they began clearing debris blocking the path to the beacon. Hours passed, and the moon grew colder. They shared little but worked well as a team. Virelli's knowledge of alien technology amazed Adam. She was quick, precise, and calm even when sparks flew dangerously close. At one point, Adam nearly touched her glowing suit by accident and jumped back. "Careful," Virelli said with a small smile. "It's more fragile than it looks." Adam nodded, suddenly curious about the person inside the suit. The repairs were slow but steady. The beacon needed a core power cell replaced, a job that required careful hands and steady nerves. At last, the path was clear. Adam looked at Virelli. "Ready?" She nodded. Together, they stepped into the engineering bay. The beacon stood silent, its lights dark. Adam began working on the circuits while Virelli monitored the power levels. Suddenly, the ship shuddered again. Dust fell from the ceiling. "We don't have much time," Virelli warned. Adam worked faster, hands steady despite the shaking. Finally, the beacon blinked to life. A soft hum filled the room. "Signal is transmitting," Adam said, relief flooding him. Virelli smiled beneath her helmet. "Help will come." Adam looked at her, grateful. "Thank you." For a moment, the weight of fear lifted, but both knew this was just the beginning. On this silent moon, far from home, they would have to rely on each other to survive. And secrets were waiting to be revealed. Secrets that could change everything. The moon's surface stretched endlessly beneath a dark purple sky. Jagged rocks cast long shadows in the dim light of the distant sun. Lieutenant Adam Reyes and Commander Virelli Thessa stood beside the faintly glowing beacon. Its soft hum was the only sound in the quiet, except for the occasional crackle of static in their radios. Despite the signal now sending their location, rescue was still far away. Days, maybe weeks, could pass before anyone arrived. They had to survive here alone on this silent moon. Adam scanned the rocky horizon. "We need shelter," he said. "The temperature drops fast when the sun sets." Virelli nodded. "Agreed. The ship's remains offer some protection, but it's unstable. We must build something better." Together they gathered broken panels, cables, and pieces of the ship's hull. Adam's hands were rough and scratched from the work, but he moved with steady purpose. Virelli's glowing suit lit their small camp, casting soft blue light over the metal scraps. The moon was strange and dangerous. Dark clouds rolled in from the east. Winds whispered secrets through the jagged rocks. Adam pulled his jacket tighter. He couldn't shake a feeling that they were being watched. Virelli noticed his tension. "This place is quiet but not empty," she said. "I sense life but nothing hostile. It is a place for survival, not war." Adam gave a short laugh. "That's comforting." The shelter grew slowly. Virelli used her knowledge of alien tech to connect power cells and create heat panels. Adam scavenged supplies from the ship's cargo bay. Between them, they made a small fortress against the cold and dark. Once inside, the air felt less heavy. The glow of the heat panels warmed their skin. Virelli sat on a metal crate, her helmet's visor reflecting the flickering lights. Adam watched her, curious. "You've been quiet since the crash. What's it like, living inside that suit all the time?" Virelli looked away, her voice soft. "The suit is my protection, my identity. We Ilari do not show our faces to others outside our world. It is a way to keep peace, to avoid fear and misunderstanding." Adam nodded. "I get that, but it must be lonely too." She considered this. "Yes, it can be lonely, but trust is built on more than appearances." Adam smiled. "Well, maybe now we can start building that trust." The moon's cold night wrapped around them. Adam checked their supplies again. Water, rations, tools. Limited, but enough for now. Suddenly, a faint noise broke the silence. Something small skittering among the rocks. Adam grabbed his portable scanner. "There's movement nearby, life, but nothing big." Virelli stood and looked out. "The moon is full of hidden things. Some are harmless, some we must avoid." They decided to keep watch in turns. Adam stayed awake through the first watch, eyes scanning the dark landscape. Time slowed. Days blended into nights with the steady pulse of the beacon their only comfort. Slowly, Adam learned to understand Vareli's quiet strength. She was not just a commander in armor. She was a being of grace and deep thought. Her glowing suit was a shield, but her words were honest. One evening, as they repaired a damaged solar panel, Adam asked, "Why do you keep your suit on all the time? Is it only safety?" Vareli paused. "It is also tradition. The Alari have history with other species. Wars, betrayals, fear. The suit hides emotions and flaws, making us appear strong and united." Adam looked at her, then at the glowing lines of her armor. "Do you ever want to take it off to show who you really are?" She hesitated, then shook her head. "Not while others might judge me for it." Adam thought about that. "Maybe here now you don't have to hide." Vareli smiled faintly, a rare softness in her voice. "Perhaps." The days passed slowly but purposefully. They scavenged what they could, kept the beacon alive, and shared stories of home. Adam spoke of Earth, blue oceans, tall forests, noisy cities. Vareli described her homeworld, a place of light and crystal, where the Alari lived in harmony with nature and technology. Despite their differences, they found common ground. Both valued life, trust, and hope. But the moon had one more challenge for them. On the 5th day, a violent storm began to form. The purple sky darkened and winds howled like wild beasts. Adam and Vareli hurried back to their shelter, securing panels and cables. "The storm will last hours," Vareli warned. "We must stay inside and keep the beacon safe. If it fails, no one will find us." Adam worked quickly, checking the beacon's power levels. The wind slammed against their shelter, shaking the metal walls. Lightning flashed, illuminating the jagged rocks outside. The storm was fierce. Inside, Adam and Vareli worked side by side, silent but united. Every crash of thunder reminded them how fragile their survival was. At one point, a sudden surge of electricity caused the beacon to flicker. Adam's heart leaped. "The storm is interfering with the signal." Vareli touched the controls, eyes focused. "I will stabilize the power flow. You protect the antenna." Adam moved to the shelter's small window and watched the raging storm outside. A sudden gust tore a panel loose. It flew toward the antenna, threatening to break the delicate device. Without thinking, Adam lunged and caught the panel just before it struck. His breath came fast. Vareli glanced at him. "You risked yourself." Adam shrugged. "Better me than the beacon." For a moment, they shared a look filled with unspoken respect. The storm raged on, but the beacon held steady. When the winds finally died and the clouds cleared, a quiet peace returned. Adam and Vareli stepped outside to see the moon bathed in soft light once more. The stars shone brightly as if watching over them. Adam looked at Vareli's glowing suit. "We made it through." She nodded. "Together." But both knew the storm was only the beginning. The silent moon held many secrets yet to be discovered, and the true test of trust and survival was still to come. The storm had passed, leaving the moon's surface glistening under a calm, pale sun. The air was still, but the tension between Adam and Vareli had shifted. They had survived together, yet the mysteries of the Alari commander remained. The emergency beacon had sent their signal successfully, but the ship was far from fixed. The core circuit deep inside the engineering bay was damaged badly. Without repairing it, the ship could never fully restart. Adam studied the plan again. "I need to get inside the collapsed section to reach the core. It's a narrow space, and the heat inside might be too much for me without a suit." Vareli looked at him calmly. "I will go in. My suit is designed to handle extreme conditions. I am better suited for this task." Adam hesitated. "It's dangerous. What if something happens to you?" Vareli gave a small smile beneath her helmet. "Then you will have to save me." Adam nodded, feeling a strange mix of worry and trust. They prepared carefully. Virelli checked her suit systems while Adam gathered tools and monitored life support. The entrance to the collapsed section was a twisted metal gap, barely wide enough for a person. Virelli began to crawl in, her glowing suit lighting the dark passage. Adam watched her move with ease. Her armor glimmered softly as she disappeared into the heat and darkness. Minutes passed. Adam's fingers tapped nervously against a control panel. The silence was thick. Suddenly, a faint crackle came through the radio. Adam. Virelli's voice was calm, but strained. The heat is rising faster than expected. I will try to reach the core, but the suit is showing signs of damage. Adam's heart quickened. Can you hold on? I will try. But if the suit fails, I will need your help immediately. The tension in the control room grew. Adam prepared the emergency tools to pull her out if needed. Another crackling sound, then silence. Adam's breath caught. Virelli? Are you there? Suddenly the lights flickered. A small burst of sparks flew near the entrance. Virelli emerged quickly, but her movements were slower than before. Her suit flickered strangely, faint lines glowing unevenly. Adam reached for her helmet. Your suit. What's happening? She lowered the visor with a soft hiss. Adam blinked. Before him was not the armored, shining figure he knew, but someone more real. Her skin glowed softly with a pale blue light, like the inside of a pearl. Her eyes were large and bright, deep pools of silver that seemed to reflect the room's light. She looked human, but different, ethereal and beautiful. Adam stared, surprised and silent. Virelli smiled faintly. You are surprised. Adam found his voice. I didn't expect this. You could have told me what you really looked like. Virelli nodded. We Alari hide ourselves for many reasons. Fear, history, protection. To show my true form is to show trust. Adam felt warmth spread through his chest. I wish you had told me sooner. I would have trusted you all the same. Virelli looked away, a hint of sadness in her gaze. Trust is not always easy to give or receive. Adam stepped closer. You don't have to hide from me. Not here. Not now. She hesitated, then slowly removed more parts of her suit. Her hands were delicate and glowing faintly. Adam noticed how vulnerable she looked without the armor. But there was no fear, only quiet strength. Virelli's voice was soft. This is who I am. Adam nodded. And I'm glad to see it. The room felt lighter, as if a barrier between them had lifted. But the danger was not over. Virelli's suit had been damaged by heat and sparks. Without full protection, she could not stay long outside. Adam helped her put together a makeshift shield from the broken ship parts. This will help, he said. It won't replace your suit, but it will keep you safe for a while. Virelli smiled gratefully. Thank you, Adam. Together, they returned to the beacon room, their new bond unspoken but clear. That night, as the moon's cold winds blew outside, they talked for the first time without barriers. Virelli shared stories of her people, the Alari, how they lived in harmony with technology and nature, but how wars and fear made them hide their true selves behind suits. Adam listened, fascinated by her history and courage. In return, he told her about Earth, about blue skies, green forests, and people who feared the unknown just as much as she feared revealing herself. Slowly, the two became more than just crewmates. They were partners, in survival, friends in a strange and distant place. But Adam knew this moment of honesty was fragile. The beacon might bring rescue or it might bring new challenges. For now, on this silent moon, the human and the Alari shared a truth stronger than fear. The story was just beginning. The moon's cold light shone softly through the small windows of their shelter. Inside, the quiet hum of the repaired beacon was a steady reminder that help might soon arrive. Yet, Adam and Varelli knew their time together was far from over. With Varelli now out of her full suit, their relationship was changing. Trust was growing, between them, like a fragile bridge built over years of fear and silence. Adam sat on a crate, watching Varelli as she worked on a small device. Her skin still glowed faintly in the dim light, a soft blue shimmer that seemed to pulse with her breath. "How do you feel without your suit?" Adam asked gently. Varelli paused, considering the question. "It is strange. I am vulnerable, but I also feel freer. The suit protected my body, but it hid who I am." Adam nodded. "I can imagine. You've always had to keep a part of yourself hidden." Varelli looked at him with quiet eyes. "Yes. My people learned long ago that showing our true form could lead to fear and war. So we wear the suits, armor for the body and for the heart." Adam's voice was soft. "But here, there's no war. No one to judge you." She smiled faintly. "That is why I removed it. To be honest with you." Adam smiled back. "I appreciate that, and I'm glad to know the person inside." They worked side by side to improve the shelter's protection. Varelli used parts of her suit, carefully removed, to build a flexible exoskin that could shield her from the moon's thin atmosphere and cold nights. Adam helped, cutting and fastening pieces together. "It's not as strong as your original suit," he said, "but it should keep you safe." Varelli tested it, moving slowly to adjust the fit. "It will do, thank you." The moon was silent outside, but inside their conversations grew deeper. Varelli spoke of the Alari homeworld, a place of shining crystal cities and glowing forests. She told Adam how her people lived in balance with technology and nature, always respecting life and knowledge. Adam shared stories of Earth, a world of oceans and forests, mountains and deserts. He told her about humans, how curious and brave they were, but also how often they feared what they did not understand. "Sometimes," Adam said, "fear makes us hide parts of ourselves, just like you." Varelli nodded. Trust must be earned, and fear must be overcome. Their talks went on late into the moon's long night. The silence between words was comfortable, filled with a growing connection. One evening, as Adam repaired the beacon's control panel, Varelli sat nearby, her glowing eyes watching him work. Suddenly, a soft beep came from the device. "The beacon is holding steady," Adam said with a smile. "Rescue is closer now." Varelli's expression was calm but hopeful. Good. They allowed themselves a moment of relief. But life on the moon was not easy. Supplies were limited, and the environment was harsh. One day, Adam noticed Varelli struggling to breathe during their work outside. "Are you all right?" he asked, concern showing in his voice. She stopped and took a deep breath. "The exoskin helps, but it is not perfect. The atmosphere is thinner than I expected." Adam frowned. "We'll have to find better protection before the rescue arrives." Varelli nodded. "Yes, but for now we must be careful." As they worked, Adam felt a growing admiration for Varelli, not just as a commander, but as someone brave enough to show her true self. He wondered how many other Alari hid behind suits, afraid to be seen. That thought made him more determined to help her. Their routine was interrupted one afternoon by a sudden tremor shaking the moon's surface. The shelter rattled, and dust fell from the ceiling. Adam grabbed a nearby beam. That was strong. Varelli stood quickly. "This moon is not as quiet as it seems." They checked the beacon and found it still operational, but the tremor had damaged some of the support structures. "We must repair this quickly," Adam said. "Another quake could break the shelter." Varelli agreed, and together they worked through the day, reinforcing the walls and securing the equipment. The sun set slowly, and the moon's cold night returned. As they rested, Adam looked at Varelli and spoke softly. "Thank you for trusting me," she smiled. "And thank you for accepting me." In that small shelter on a distant moon, two very different beings found a connection stronger than fear or tradition. They were no longer just human and Alari. They were friends, and friends had to protect each other. The future was uncertain, but, for now in the silence of the moon, understanding had taken root. The calm after the quake was short-lived. The sky above the silent moon darkened once again, but this time with heavy clouds rolling in fast. Adam and Varelli looked up, worry growing in their eyes. "The storm is coming," Varelli said, her glowing skin dimming slightly. "This one will be stronger than before." Adam secured the last loose panels on their shelter. The wind began to howl outside, carrying cold dust and sharp rocks. The air was thick with tension. "We have to protect the beacon," Adam said firmly. "If it fails, our signal stops, then no one will find us." Varelli nodded, moving swiftly to check the beacon's power core. The storm arrived quickly. Lightning flashed across the purple sky. Thunder roared like distant thunderous drums. The wind hit their shelter with the force of giant fists. Inside, the small space shook and creaked. Adam and Varelli worked together, steady hands under pressure. Adam held the antenna steady, bracing against the shaking walls, while Varelli adjusted the power flow to keep the beacon running. Suddenly, a loud crack split the air. A loose panel flew off the shelter's side, heading straight for the antenna. Adam lunged, catching it just in time. He gasped, heart pounding. "You risked yourself," Varelli said softly. Adam shrugged. "Better me than the beacon." The storm was relentless. Sparks flew from damaged circuits. Varelli's makeshift exoskin shield absorbed some of the impact, but even she struggled against the wind and cold. At one point, a sudden surge caused the beacon to flicker dangerously. Adam shouted over the noise. "I can't hold it much longer." Varelli concentrated, rerouting power with quick, precise movements. "Hold on, Adam, just a few more minutes." Outside, lightning cracked the sky in a brilliant dance of light and sound. Finally, the beacon's steady hum returned. "We're still transmitting," Adam said, relief flooding his voice. But then, the shelter shook violently. A blast of wind threw Varelli against the wall. Adam rushed to her side, his hands steady as he checked her vitals with a portable scanner. "You're okay," he said, breathless. Varelli smiled faintly. "I am, but we must keep moving. The storm is not finished." Together, they secured the shelter further, adding extra panels and fastening cables with all their strength. As the night wore on, the storm's fury slowly faded. The winds died down. The clouds parted, revealing a sky full of stars. Adam and Varelli stepped outside, the cold air biting at their skin. They looked up at the clear night, feeling the weight of what they had survived. "You saved the beacon," Adam said quietly. Varelli nodded. "And you saved me." They shared a moment of silent understanding. But deep inside, both knew that the storm was more than just weather. It was a test of trust, of strength, of their will to survive. The signal was out now. Rescue would come. But what awaited them, when it did, was still unknown. For now, on this quiet moon, the human and the Alari had beaten the storm. Together. Days passed slowly, but the soft hum of the beacon kept Adam and Varelli hopeful. The silent moon stretched around them like a vast empty sea, but now they knew their signal had been sent into the void, waiting for an answer. One morning, as the pale sun rose over jagged rocks, Adam scanned the horizon with his binoculars. "Look," he said, pointing toward the dark sky. A small dot grew larger, moving steadily toward their location. "A ship," Varelli said, her voice filled with relief and something deeper, hope. The rescue ship was a sleek vessel, marked with both human and Alari symbols. It landed smoothly near their shelter, kicking up dust and small stones. Adam and Varelli watched as a team of humans and Alari stepped out, their faces full of concern and curiosity. The humans approached Adam first. "We received your signal," one said. "Are you both okay?" Adam nodded. "We are, but we've been through a lot." The Alari officers looked at Varelli, still glowing faintly without her suit. There was a moment of silence. Some looked surprised. Others looked away, but Varelli stood tall. "I removed my suit," she said firmly. "It is time to be seen as we are, without fear or hiding." The rescue leader nodded respectfully. "You have done well to survive. We will bring you home." Adam helped Varelli up the ramp of the rescue ship. The warmth inside was comforting. As they traveled away from the silent moon, Adam looked at Varelli. "You faced more than just the elements here," he said softly. She smiled, eyes shining. "Yes, I faced fear, my own and others. But now, I am ready." Back on the rescue ship, the crews gathered. Humans and Ilari alike listened as Adam and Varelli shared their story of survival, trust, and the quiet moon. When Varelli's helmet was removed fully for the first time in front of others, there was a mixture of emotions. Some whispered, some stared, but many smiled. The Ilari captain stepped forward. "Perhaps it is time for all of us to reconsider what it means to hide behind a suit." Adam felt a surge of pride for his friend and crewmate. They were no longer just individuals. From different worlds, they were a team, stronger together. The ship set course for a neutral space station, where diplomacy between humans and Ilari often took place. There, news of Varelli's choice to remove her suit spread quickly. Some people were surprised. Some were skeptical, but many were inspired. A new chapter was beginning. Adam and Varelli prepared for what was next. A conference that could change the future of their peoples. But for now, as the stars passed by outside the ship's windows, they allowed themselves a moment of peace. The silent moon was behind them, but its lessons remained. Trust was hard-won. Friendship was precious, and the courage to be yourself could change everything. The neutral space station buzzed with activity. Ships from many worlds arrived and departed, and diplomats from across the galaxy met to talk, negotiate, and sometimes argue. But today was special. Commander Varelli Thessa and Lieutenant Adam Reyes stood together on the observation deck, looking out at the sea of stars. Varelli's glowing skin shimmered softly under the station's lights. For the first time, many would see her without the familiar Ilari suit that had hidden her true form for so long. The news of her unsuiting during the crash had spread quickly. Across human and Ilari worlds, people talked about the brave commander, who had trusted a human with her true self. Some were afraid, others were curious, but most were hopeful. Today, Varelli would speak at the joint Human-Ilari conference, a meeting meant to strengthen ties and build trust between their peoples. Adam stood beside her, proud and ready to support his friend. The conference hall was large and filled with delegates. Humans in their uniforms sat next to Ilari in their own formal attire. Cameras recorded every moment. When Varelli stepped up to the podium, a hush fell over the room. She spoke clearly and with calm confidence. "People have hidden behind suits for many reasons: fear, history, and protection. But fear only grows when we hide. It divides us." She paused, letting her words sink in. "Today I stand before you not as a commander in armor, but as a being who wants peace and understanding." The audience listened intently. Adam watched, her feeling the strength and honesty in her voice. After Varelli's speech, delegates asked questions. Some were difficult, filled with doubt. Others were hopeful and supportive. When the session ended, Adam and Varelli stepped outside. A crowd had gathered, many wanting to meet the commander who had shown courage in more ways than one. A young Ilari approached, eyes wide. "You have changed how we see ourselves," she said softly. A human engineer smiled. "And how we see the Ilari." Varelli smiled back. "Change begins with trust." Adam felt a tap on his shoulder. A diplomat from Earth's council said, "Lieutenant Reyes, your friendship with Commander Thessa is a sign of new hope for all." Adam nodded, humbled. That evening, under the stars visible from the station's deck, Adam and Varelli talked quietly. "Do you remember when you first took off your suit?" Adam asked. Varelli laughed softly. "You looked surprised." I was, Adam admitted. But now I know what trust really means. She reached out and touched his hand gently. Thank you for accepting me. They looked out at the stars, two very different beings connected by courage and friendship. The future was uncertain, but the past's walls were breaking down. Together, they had shown the galaxy what it meant to be human, and Ilari. Together, they had started a new story, one where truth was the greatest strength and hope was the brightest star.